My name is Lena Carter. I'm 31 years old, and I run Carter Capital Advisors in Portland, Oregon. I'd poured my heart and expertise into funding the venue, the Monarch Grand Ballroom, and every exquisite detail, from the cascading floral arches to the golden lights and spotless table settings, all for my brother's wedding. I walked into the reception, my heels clicking against the marble floor, expecting a seat among family. But my seat was missing. No name card, no chair. My parents exchanged glances, then laughed. "Oops," Dad said. "Guess we miscounted." The room burst into laughter. Guests whispered behind champagne glasses, eyes flicking toward me. My chest tightened, but I forced a smile, scanning the tables one last time. No mistake, I was erased. The sting of their laughter burned deeper than words can describe. I had paid for every detail of this night, yet here I was an outsider at my own brother's wedding. My parents' casual dismissal, that smug miscounted, echoed in my head. I clenched my fists, took a deep breath, and said, "Seems I'm not family." Then I turned and walked out, their chuckles fatting behind me. In that moment, I made a promise they would never forget this. What I did next left them speechless. But to understand why I reached that point, you need to know my family. When we were kids, Evan Carter and I were inseparable. He was 2 years older, charming, confident, always the favorite. At 7, I'd trail him everywhere, copying his skateboard tricks, borrowing his baseball cap, laughing when he teased me for being slow. Our parents, Mark and Evelyn Carter, adored him. Mom hung his trophies on the wall. My art ribbons went straight to a drawer. Dad bragged about his science fair wins, while my straight A's were just expected. As we grew older, the favoritism grew sharper. When Evan turned 16, Dad bought him a used car to reward responsibility. When I turned 16, I got a pat on the back and a reminder to save for college. I wanted to study finance. I loved numbers, markets, patterns, but Mom brushed it off. "That's not a real career, honey. Be practical like your brother." Evan majored in marketing and stumbled from one failed startup to the next, yet they funded every new idea. I worked part-time through college, paying my own tuition, while Evan got applause for simply trying. By my late 20s, I had built something real, Carter Capital Advisors, a small firm that helped Portland families and entrepreneurs manage wealth. I doubled portfolios, mentored new investors, and earned a spot in a local business magazine. Evan, meanwhile, had burned through 2 startups and was living off consulting gigs. But to my parents, he was still their golden child. So when he got engaged to Sophie, I saw it as a chance to rebuild the family bond. Mom called me one evening, her tone sharp as glass. "Evan's wedding is at the Monarch Hotel," she said. "You're covering the costs." I agreed, not because I had to, but because I wanted them to see I cared. I picked everything: the soft blush peonies, the amber string lights, the elegant silver place settings. Every detail was perfect. I wired the payments, stayed late to oversee deliveries, and ensured the ballroom shone like something out of a dream. My parents, though, gave Evan and Sophie all the credit. "Their taste is impeccable," Mom boasted at a family barbecue. I stood there smiling, invisible, the one holding the checkbook. Still, I believed love would win, that they'd finally see my heart. Then came the wedding day. I arrived early, wearing a navy gown, hair pinned neatly. The ballroom glowed with the lights and flowers I'd chosen. I scanned the tables for my name. Nothing. Checked again. Nothing. A server confirmed it. "Sorry, Miss Carter, I don't see your seat." My pulse roared in my ears. I turned toward my family, who laughed off the mistake. Fury replaced heartbreak. I marched to the event manager. "Cancel the contract," I said, loud enough for the nearest guests to hear. "The Carter family can handle the bill now." Gasps rippled through the room. Mom went pale. Dad froze mid-toast. Evan's smile faltered. "You can't be serious," Sophie stammered. "Oh, I'm deadly serious." The manager hesitated, but I showed the signed payment receipts, all under my name. The contract was mine. Within minutes, the venue froze charges, forcing my family to settle on the spot. The murmurs spread like wildfire. But that wasn't the end. Minutes before the ceremony, I got a text from Daniel Ruiz, my longtime friend and accountant. "Check your accounts, now." My stomach dropped. I logged in. $180,000 gone. Daniel met me in a side room, laptop open. "I traced it," he said quietly. "Evan, Sophie, and your parents used a forged signature. Transfers went to a real estate escrow account, down payment for Evan's new house. Emails, fake authorizations, my mother's name on the deposit slip, my brother's email on the transfer request. It was all there. They, stolen from me, assuming I'd never fight back. So when the toasts began, I took the microphone. My voice trembled at first, but steadied. "I paid for this wedding," I said. "The venue, the flowers, everything, but my family left me no seat." A hush fell. "And they also stole $180,000 from my account," I continued, holding up Daniel's printouts. "Here's the proof my brother, his fiancée, and our parents forged my name to buy their dream house." Gasps, whispers, a few guests stood up. Mom's face crumpled. Dad tried to shout over me. Evan's voice cracked, "Lena, stop." But I didn't. I set the papers on the table and walked out. Behind me, chaos erupted, the perfect family image collapsing in front of 200 witnesses. I didn't look back. A week later, Daniel and I met again. The evidence ran deeper. Forged ad contracts, fake income reports, even gambling debts in Evan's name. They'd used my stolen money to cover it all. When I confronted Evan in his office, he looked small. "You have everything," he said bitterly. "You owe me." "Owe you?" I asked. "I funded your wedding, you stole my savings." Mom and Dad burst in, voices sharp. "You've embarrassed us enough," Dad barked. "Family helps family." Mom added coldly, "You're overreacting. Julia," she caught herself. "Evan just made a mistake." I stared at them. "No, you made a choice." I left, shutting the door on everything I once called home. Days later, rumors began spreading, lies that I'd misused client funds, that Carter Capital was under investigation. Anonymous posts online, whispers at networking events. I traced it easily. IP addresses tied to Evan's home office. Daniel found emails between him and Sophie, planting stories, forging fake documents to smear me. But this time, I was ready. I contacted my lawyer, compiled every scrap of evidence, and launched a full legal response. My firm's name cleared instantly, theirs burned instead. Evan's small marketing company folded within weeks after I sent evidence of his fraud to his investors. His marriage crumbled soon after. Mom and Dad begged me to stop. "You're destroying your brother's life," Mom said. I replied, "He destroyed mine." And that was that. Months later, I moved to a new penthouse downtown. Carter Capital thrived, bigger, stronger, respected. I started mentoring young women in finance, helping them see their worth beyond family validation. I learned something powerful. Blood doesn't make you loyal. Actions do. My family once left me no seat at their table. Now I build my own.